Is this really what you want to do with your life? To live in a constant state of inner turmoil brought on by opinions whose very existence you deem inappropriate to the maximum and offensive to the extreme? To seek out ever new and ever fresh occasions of offense, so that you are free to flaunt your virtue and to stand atop your hill of moral superiority in order for everyone within the immediate zone of your self-imposed social media madness to judge and consider you to be of the highest moral standing and highest moral standard. To wave the elusive banner of justice immaculate and immediate in front of marching brigades of hysterically screeching butthurt tater-tots. To be caught in a crossfire of ever-increasing infringements on what people may say or do so as not to hurt anyone's vapor cloud feelings. To pour ever more gasoline on the ever-growing fires of discontent and then fan the flames with religious fervor, all in an attempt to be seen as the most upstanding, most moral, most chaste cloud of the collective. Is this really what you want to do with your life? To live in a self-induced bubble of stress and maniac madness gathered from the cloud-shared storage of your fellow moral crusaders for part-time truths and post-justice justice. To look over your shoulders constantly lest the mad brigades come for you as well in the trenches of this war of fragility which you fight. You may believe that they won't, but they will. Come time, they will. They will seek you out like sharks smelling blood in the water the moment you say anything that goes contrary to one tenet or other of the holy church of offense seekers and victim warriors. Always looking to get atop the highest vantage point of Victim Mountain. To become, essentially, king or queen of the hill and don the papal hat of victim superior. Ave, ave, victimas. This self-inflicted paranoia-induced stress ain't good for you, you know. Don't you ever get tired of self-censoring, so as not to upset the anthill, so as not to paint a target on your back for the predatory beasts to sniff out in dramatic reenactments of past lynch mob seekers of post-truth mob justice? Are you not tired of these cult-like patterns of thought? Is this really what you want to do with your life? To never delve deeply into the depths of your convictions and think things through properly? To never measure the foundations of your beliefs against something other than what you have already decided is good and pure and proper and true? Don't you ever feel like plunging deeply into the murky waters of ideas, the darkest, deepest depths of intellectual curiosity, and challenge yourself through internal monologues turned internal dialogues with some other part of your soul, chained away in the basement, begging to come to the forefront and ask you a few questions? You know, some questions, just to shine a light on some things, see where you really stand, what really matters. Is the prospect of the depths of your own intellectual capacity frightening to you? It must be simpler, plainer, easier to take the quick and easy route towards social acceptance by riding the wave and saying what others say, repeating chants and drones and mantras, superficially sounding reasonable and just and moral. It is all for the greater good, the superficial greater good. And that is just it. Superficial, callous, immediate. A product of attention spans left out in the woods to be ripped apart by wolves and bears. The quick one-upping brought on by immediate gratification. The instantaneous dopamine burst of instantaneous action. Jumping on the bandwagon of whichever moral outrage is popular at the present moment. Never for one single moment stopping to think if this is really worth it. If this is really something that warrants this level of moral outrage. Because thinking things through takes time, and time is of the essence, lest the case in point disappear into the misty waters surrounding the island of immediacy, and no one acted. No one got their dopamine burst, and thus their fix for the evening. Them withdrawals are such a bitch. Gotta keep on your toes. Gotta keep them shots coming. Perpetual gratification junkies, exceptionally addicted to feeling righteous flames fanned in the superficial reward centers of the reptilian mind. Is this really what you want to do with your life? To scream obscenities at those who did nothing but disagree with you? To attack their characters and their personhood, never once attacking their arguments? To never listen when someone is attempting to share their opinions and their views, instead waiting for them to stop talking, or yelling in their faces until they do, so that you can spew whatever ready-made and pre-assembled grunts of arguments you gathered from someone else, somewhere else in the undying cloud storage of your fellow outrage aficionados. Riding the wave is a thrill and a bliss. All that woozy and wooden social approval gathered through likes and shares and comments gallivanting your way, to tell you that you are such a good and decent person, so clean and uncorrupted and untouched by the foul fascists hiding behind every single illuminated keyboard, seeking to oppress and destroy your hive-mind virtue by asking a simple question or stating a simple fact, which you have deemed, through no thought of your own, a non-fact. It is so easy, so simple and so outstandingly powerful to dismiss someone immediately as a fascist, a Nazi, a misogynist, a racist, a sexist, a transphobe, a whatever, to make them defend themselves instead of the argument. Such a cheap trick, and so effective if one is not expecting it. Yet you never stop to think that these words have lost all meaning through their overuse. And you never stop to think that these are the tactics of people with no depth behind their arguments and opinions. To attack the person making the argument instead of the argument itself. It proves nothing but your own inability to consider a different point of view, to question yourself and to ponder, deeply, what you consider absolute truth. Don't you ever think that this madness will stop at one point or other? That the foundation of your movement, such as it is built on sand and mud, and that it will all slip away and come tumbling down in an incredible, ear-shattering implosion of blood and hysteria. Where there is only superficiality, there is no depth, and where there is no depth, there are no roots to seek nourishment to keep the goddamn thing alive. Your castles are crumbling. We can see it. We can see it through the constant infighting amongst your groups. We can see it through the ever-expanding nonsense of your outrage. We can see it through your ever more blatant hypocrisy and double standards. We can see it through the steadily approaching turning of the tide. Some beliefs have depth. Some beliefs have roots that seek nourishment and find it. Others do not. Anything built on the immediacy of the event will not stand up to scrutiny. Your grapes are dying on the vines. The times, as they say, are a-changin'. And why are you allergic to simple facts of life merely because they run counter to your beliefs and your feelings? That you feel something is untrue does not make it so. That you feel something is true does not make it so. Some facts are facts, and denying these facts because they make you feel bad is ignorance at best and absolute selfishness at worst. Reality does not have to bend and twist to conform to your personal feelings and beliefs. It is hard to imagine anything more vacuous and selfish than demanding reality itself change to suit your needs. God damn it, get a grip! Children think like this, not grown-ass adults. Is this really what you want to do with your life? To fight a battle you will lose because you are constantly changing the goalposts so that no one will ever have the time or the ability to follow through with anything. To levy ever more demands for protection and pampering in ways which I can best describe by referring to Helen Lovejoy of Simpsons fame and her own moral outrage, manifested in 7 simple yet effective words. Won't somebody please think of the children? Screeched hysterical, with no thought, no rhyme, no reason, merely appealing to affect, blind to anything else. This is exactly what you and your brigade of rampaging thugs are doing. Think of the children. Think of these poor people with no voice of their own, whom I, in my grandiosity and grandstanding, care and compassion, have decided to speak on behalf of. Of course, without considering that these poor oppressed people whom you dare speak on behalf of may not be in agreement with you, and may not even want you to speak on their behalf. Do you really believe yourself to be the voice of entire groups of people? Or do you perhaps consider these people so stupid, weak and feeble as to be unable to speak on their own behalf? Well, that speaks more about you than it does the ones you claim to protect. Do you really want to be lost in a hodgepodge vacuum chamber, insulated against the outside world so that you never have to ask yourself simple questions such as, maybe I am wrong about this? Is this really what you want to do with your life? Never consider and always assume. To paint the ones who disagree with you with the broadest brushstrokes imaginable, painting them as haters of women or racists or Nazis or whatever suits your needs at that particular moment. Dismiss as hatred that which you do not even care to consider. Simple and easy. Dehumanize and carry on. disregarding what genuine concerns may be there in order to caress and rub the clitoris of your own sense of effective and superb morality. There is no easier way to win than to consider your opponent as less than, as not worth consideration. Do you really want to float adrift on a sea of hatred and bigotry throughout your life because you have decided, within your echo chambers, that a certain segment of the population is composed entirely of people so privileged that their concerns and needs need not be met? That it is okay to hate and vilify, seek out and destroy an entire segment of the population merely because you have deemed them less than human, through decades of lies and slander, shaming and hate? Or is it maybe so that you dare not gaze within yourself, because you would then be bare to yourself, and all your hatred and all your selfish bigotry and dehumanizing rhetoric would stand naked in front of you, and you would see yourself through and through, and the incredible shame and the overwhelming sensation of your own abhorrent hatred would flood into you and fill you with regret and paralyzing shame, so that you are left in a catatonic state of despair brought on by the ugliness of your soul. Introspection ain't pretty when one has blamed the outside world for one's own shortcomings all one's livelong life. It comes highly recommended though. Try it, and you may soon come to realize the importance of thinking things through at great depth and at great lengths of time. Try it, and you may soon realize that insisting the world change to accommodate your ever-shifting needs is selfishness and not selflessness. That immediate gratification is a fleeting thing, and that the things that last are things that are built across eternal rivers of time, externally as well as internally.